Welcome to Friday Night Lights End Zone on YouTube Overtime. I'm Scott Sable along with Jack Leto, and let's start off, as always, with some scores that we're going to update.
Yeah, we have 6 scores, a few games out of area, or a little out of area that got rained out on. Thankfully, some of these games we still got in, which is nice. Surprising scores, I'd say undefeated MFL Marmac getting upset by Sumner Fred, 13-9 is a big one. We don't have a final on this Winfield Mountain Union English Valleys game, and 8-man, but it looks like Winfield Mountain Union's winning big. I know you saw them.
They're good.
They're quite good.
Yeah.
Yeah, Xavier gets a much-needed win after dropping one they probably shouldn't have dropped. No upset bid in Bentendorf as Dubuque Hempstead loses 43-7. Impressed with Wapsie Valley. They've only given up, I checked this stat, 18 points, and it was all to the same team in a loss. Cedar Falls is looking good after their week 1 upset. Anything stand out to you, Scott?
The MFL Marmac game, that's a big win for Sumner Fred. MFL Marmac's got a pretty good football team.
Yeah, Class A should be interesting with East Buchanan, North Lynn. We're not sure the end of that game.
Well, yeah, that game delayed forever.
As of now, we still don't know.
Yeah, still in delay, 0-0.
Yeah, and you had the Central City game getting rained out. I think all in all, probably you take what we get. Just it stinks for those teams.
Yeah,
but
just up
safety
north.
Coming
yeah,
first.
Most of the rain up north. Yeah.
Yeah, probably. What do you think? Monday we'll get those.
Yeah.
In?
Well, Central City, they're going to play that game for sure on Monday.
Good to know.
Yeah. How about Western Dubuque and Waverly Shell Rock? I was kind of intrigued by this game. Western Dubuque wins at 35-23, but actually the Go-Hawks had looking for a win. Actually played some pretty good football in this game.
Yeah, you see big Cole Marsh, number 4. He plays a big role for Waverly Shell Rock. 0-4 is extremely
Never
rare.
heard of it.
Extremely rare.
I don't know if they've ever been 0-4.
And then 0-5 is even more rare. But in 4A, I don't think there's a single undefeated team in 4A, but it looks like Western Dubuque is getting hot when they can. Grant Glauser is the 5'11", 200-pound running back.
Leads the state in rushing, I believe.
Yeah, he's big, he's strong, he's a machine. But once he gets the runway, I mean, he's gone. It's over.
They can't bring him down.
And Western Dubuque, 2 straight state baseball titles. Some of those got not everyone. Obviously, football and baseball are different sports.
A lot of multi-sport athletes at Western Dubuque.
In this particular state. And how about that? They get after live balls. That's something you need to do, especially if you see a team like Lewis Central or Xavier in the playoffs. Like those teams are so well disciplined because they have such great coaching.
They're very well
coached. You very, very rarely will see a fumble or a special teams mistake. So you have to take advantage. Western Dubuque did that. They certainly did it last week when they upset North Scott.
Yeah, Chelsea Brown was at the game and has a post-game interview for us.
All right, hey guys, I'm here with Grant Glossner, and 3 touchdowns for you tonight, all in the first half. Let's talk about this weather, though, first. Not the greatest conditions, but the first kind of rain game you guys have had. What made it challenging for you guys in the second half?
Definitely, we threw 2 interceptions, and that definitely put our minds down, but we just had to keep playing, and we knew we could beat this team, and they're a pretty good, well-coached team, but just couldn't take us down this year.
Take me through some of the touchdowns. It just seemed like your O-line was really making some gaps for you today.
Yes, ma'am. They were. Couldn't be prouder for them, and they all go to them tonight.
It seems like once you kind of get a little bit loose, you hit a second stride.
Yes.
I mean, your speed is obviously evident on the field. What goes through your mind as you kind of see green and there's no one next to you?
Just run as fast as I can. I mean, hopefully no one comes from the back and gets the ball out, so I'm always scared to fumble.
None for you tonight, though. How'd that feel to kind of play a clean game?
It did feel nice, especially with the weather. I mean, I made that a goal this week, so.
Considering what Waverly Shell Rock has done to you guys the past 2 years, they've come out on top. How did this one feel tonight?
We definitely wanted revenge, and we got receipts to cash in, so we got North Scott and Waverly. We got to get Xavier back.
Speaking of North Scott, I mean, I don't know what the rankings are going to come out next week, but I know that number 1 next to you guys kind of added a little bit of pressure. Does this game moving forward help you guys just kind of ease that moving forward?
It does. I think we can more strategize on what we're going to do in the playoffs with the rest of our games than our recent games.
Xavier, you've already faced. North Scott, you've already faced. Waverly Shell Rock, you've already faced. Any matchups you're looking forward to coming up here?
Definitely Marion.
Okay.
Can't wait to play Marion because pretty good team. So see what they got.
You get to see their new stadium too.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thanks so much, Garrett.
Thank you.
Grant is cashing in the receipts.
Those receipts, how about that? I mean, I don't know if Western Dubuque and Shell Rock are typical, like, traditional rivals, but when a team beats you a couple times, especially in the playoffs, finally it seems like Waverly Shell Rock graduated some dudes, and they're still a talented team, but they're just not quite to the level they have been. Good on Western Dubuque for taking advantage, because everyone in 4A and 5A2 has seemed to be beating each other. So maybe 2 weeks in a row we could have a number one team, an unquestioned number one team.
All right, let's talk about the big rivalry tonight. Wash and Jeff at Kingston. Wash with the 21-13 win. This is a huge win for Wash. They were 0-4. Jefferson came into this game 4-0, and we've documented how well they've started after losing 26 games in a row.
Yeah, that guy's in a Northwestern football shirt.
Yeah.
How about that?
They were all wearing purple tonight for Wash's legendary swim coach, Chris Cruz, who passed away. Yeah.
Thinking of his family.
Yeah, so 21-13 Wash. They got off to a great start on the scramble play by McGuire, their quarterback, just a sophomore. And Jeff they moved the ball, but they kept hurting themselves. A turnover here, and that set up Wash's next touchdown, and McGuire hits Willis out of the backfield, and he does the rest. And then Jeff, they kept coming back. They had a chance to cut it in half at the half, and it looked like they did here on a great play by their quarterback, Pfeiffer, to Calolero. He scores, but it's called back for holding. It was that kind of night for Jefferson, and they lose for the first time this year, 21-13. I noticed Wash really fired up for this football game. Jeff had got a lot of attention, and rightfully so because of their hot start, and they weren't too happy about it, and they really wanted to win this football game.
Yeah, Wash at 0-4 is rare. They have a lot of talent, and they usually have a lot of speed. Did they look as fast and as big as they typically do?
They have a lot of young. This is a young team, so they have a sophomore quarterback, a lot of pieces they're putting together, and they could win some games down the stretch. Their schedule is tough, but I expect them to win a couple more games at least.
I think that game is a lot about discipline, and I think Ed Miles is going to have some good stuff on the film.
A lot of
for
teaching
Jeff.
in this game, yeah.
What, 21-13? And to make that many mistakes and still only lose by 8 to a good team, it has to give you something to look forward to.
They were a little emotional tonight, Jeff, and got into their head a little bit. Both teams emotional because of the game is a big rivalry, but. You got to put that behind you and just play football, and I think they hurt themselves tonight. Let's talk about that City High Kennedy game, and I'm amazed. Kennedy scores 61 points tonight in the 61-34 win.
Yeah, this was a fun game, and we didn't even get all the touchdowns in. But how about this, Vincenzo Gianforte to Cyrus Courtney? That's a jump ball, and 50-50 balls are no longer 50-50 balls when Courtney's around, because that dude can really play. City High gets this huge play going to Cole Cross across the middle. Connor Cross, excuse me. He's just out racing and everybody, but Brian White and the guys were really able to stay disciplined. The line play was fantastic.
Yeah, you got the ISO here on Big Nick Brooks at 385 pounds.
Yeah, coming up a little
here.
later. That's going to come. That was. I knew as soon as I was leaving, I was like, I got to see how Big Nick is doing, and yeah.
So you ISO'd on him, and here it is right here.
Boom. I mean, he gets to the second level immediately. Look, he's a junior, and I think as he gets a little closer to his college days, he'll maybe cut a little weight, get a little bit faster, but obviously
I don't think so. I don't think he has to really cut weight. I think he'll redistribute that way, but I think he'll stay about there because his feet are still pretty good. But he'll just get a little bit stronger, and he'll get a lot more experienced. He's still young as a football player, and wait in 2 years, he's got a chance, just like Tristan Wirfs did, to start right away. That's a
good call.
Yeah.
And both 2-2 teams, 3-2 now for Kennedy.
And watch out for
really
Kennedy
good.
when they get in the playoffs. I would not want to play Kennedy in the playoffs because I think they're going to continue to get better. And I love their quarterback, Gianforte. He reminds me of Brock Purdy a little bit. He's about the same size. He's got that same moxie. And as you talked about, Courtney's just a great receiver.
I have a question. Speaking of Wirfs, have you ever had a high school guy that, like a high school player where you see them in one sport and you just know they're an amazing athlete even in a different sport? Because for me, that was
If you
Courtney.
watched Wirfs in the discus and the shot put, all you have to watch the explosion and the quickness of his feet. And that's what it is with linemen, especially big linemen. A lot of times they don't have quick feet. But if you have that combination of quick feet and size, the sky's the limit. He's proving that in the NFL, and
Yeah.
I think Nick has really good feet too. I don't think he does the shot and disc. At least I don't know, but
we'll see.
But yeah, he might want to try. He's really got some pretty good feet, and I think once he gets all the techniques down, I mean, the same thing as Tristan. The sky is the limit, and he loves Tristan Wirfs, follows him.
Of course, yeah.
Yes.
How would you not follow him?
And studies his game.
Yeah, that was Courtney for me. I saw him sophomore as a sophomore basketball player. I was like, okay, that's an athlete. That's a D1 athlete right there.
All right, let's talk about Prairie and Liberty. Prairie wins this one, and this is a crazy game too. 38-30. Liberty just kept coming.
You knew both offenses would shine, but it just took so long for Liberty, and Prairie had already built up a big lead.
Yeah, they got a lot of talent on this Prairie team. They're also, you know, it's a new system with Coach Knott coming in, so everything is new for them. And Kelly is really quick.
Yeah, he's not the fastest guy in the field, but he gets 10. He goes from the 30-yard line to the 20-yard line faster than almost anyone in the state because
they call
it's
it
quickness.
Yeah, they call it football fast. So he plays at full speed.
Yes.
And a lot of players don't play at full speed. He's a wrestler. He's a tough guy, even though he's little. So he's not afraid, and he plays the game at full speed. And he is quick and just fun to watch.
It's Prairie is really good in Eastern Iowa, and they took the loss to Southeast Polk, but I do believe that is a closer and closer ceiling that they're hitting, especially when you have guys, even if they're undersized, playing as hard as Kelly.
Yeah, I think that they can really improve, is just like Kennedy. I think towards the end of the season, you're not going to want to play. And they might end up playing each other, but you don't want to play those two teams in the playoffs.
I hate to say it, but I don't want to see the Eastern Iowa teams and the Eastern Iowa teams. I want to, get a few chances to see maybe, 5A playoffs, let's say Ankeny against
I think
Prairie.
we'll see more of that. We saw more of that last year, and obviously we're seeing it in the regular season, which is kind of fun. And right now, this side of the state still has some work to do to catch up with the other side of the state.
Yeah, but I do genuinely believe that with just a couple exceptions, everyone in this class, Liberty and Prairie's class, 5A, can beat each other.
Yeah, I think this year, anyone can win. Southeast Polk might be just a little bit ahead, but I think pretty much everyone can win. All right, we'll do it again next week, all right? Thanks for joining us tonight on The Overtime.